my little monsters, and welcome to part of episode 6. I can't write a script. Anyways, welcome to episode 6 of Inside the Rack, a not podcast for people who get out of bipolar depression via lifting heavy objects until their body is too tired to be sad anymore. Well, I feel better. A lot better, in fact. I finally had a client here in my gym in Calgary, and it looks like they can tolerate my shenanigans. And they're coming back next week. Yay! Yes, it's a small amount of money, but any money coming in is better than none. And it makes me feel good knowing I get to help people do things that isn't uninstalling Microsoft KB6670, which prevents shared printers due to bad certificate allowance on Win 10 server routes. So there's that. Now that I think about it, I actually did have a bad day, sort of. Yesterday was deadlift day, and I could barely get 477 off the ground. I was hoping to get close to maxing out, hit that 491 again. But I was totally okay with not hitting it, and I'm not sure why. I guess I can just accept that sometimes I don't have a great deadlift day. Especially when it means I get to move on to the other aspects of lifting, which brings me to squats. My squats suck. We know this. So, during the Saskatchewan Roughriders game on Saturday, which was a brutal butt-handing that meant nothing between the teams that were playing it. I guess Hamilton needed it to play in their own stadium or something. Either way, Saskatchewan is like, we don't care. We already are hosting our thing, so whatever, just beat us and we'll throw in our third stringers and the water boy. Yeah. So the Manmu and I, we left at halftime because it was pointless to watch. And we have a TV here in the gym anyway, so we put it on here so that we could continue watching it. We just weren't sitting and drinking beers and eating nachos and talking about boobies, which is what we usually do during sports. So we set up some strings inside the squat rack. Boink, 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 boink. And I sent a message over to the brainy and beautiful Prairie Athena on Instagram about my depth and where I needed to hit in these strings, and now I have answers. I can look at every lift I do and not have a question. I have answers. I can see exactly where my leg needs to be and hit that depth every time, hopefully. So I spent a bunch of Saturday during the game doing light squats, mostly 135, 225, until I could hit depth every single time. And then I maxed out a few, and by a few I mean 10, doing 315. And I was finally starting to really feel it properly, but I was also starting to go too high because I was tired. So we called it before the Stamps game really got started. So yesterday, after my failure to launch on deads, I was hitting the squat rack again. 2 hours later, which was much longer than I expected to be in the gym, I was able to hit 3 lifts in a row at 315 to full, proper competition depth. I figured out my form. So, make sure the bar is lower on my back than could possibly be comfortable. So not up here, not down here, but back here. So if I lose control with how far down it is, my arms will rip backwards, like the guy in Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Dream Warriors, when the guy is turned into a cockroach and then he's benching and then his arms rip off and the cockroach arms come out. Yeah, that's how weirdly angled my arms need to be. And if I don't feel like I'm literally going to fall backwards during the unrack, I'm probably not going to be on my heels during the lift, which means I'm going to be on my toes, which means no depth. And I need to look forward, not down, not 45, especially not down, but forward. So I actually put a water bottle in front of me so I could just stare at it. And I think this might actually be why I usually hit depth in competition. is because I stare at the judge. I usually warn them ahead of time, I'm going to look at you like I hate you. That has nothing to do with you. It's because I'm concentrating. And all the judges are like, well, yeah, that's what everybody does. So that's fine. And I figured this out by looking in the mirror that I have in front of the squat rack. Now, usually I don't look in the mirror because I didn't want to become reliant on it. But in this case, I'm really glad that I did. Mostly it was because I wanted to get another angle to see if one leg is going lower than the other. In this case, looking in the mirror actually really helped me look forward and know exactly where I needed to be. And lastly, the cue that I need to follow is when I get to the bottom, I need to become a fully squished nuclear potato. If I'm not clenched in everywhere except my taint, I'm probably not hitting depth. Looking forward to my next squat day, which I would love to do today, even though it was already yesterday, but not safe for work image here. This is my back after 2 hours of trying to break the bar over my back. I was actually wearing a shirt. I do actually wear shirts now while I'm squatting just because it's really heavy and otherwise it'll tear up my spine. It should hurt, but it doesn't. It was just kind of like when I took off my shirt, it then like ripped off a layer of flesh and that kind of hurt, I guess. I don't know. For my bench, I had a max out day or two last week. I can't remember. And it went okay. I didn't get the 253. I remember that. But I was also just warming up after a week of not lifting. So today, I knew what I needed to do to work on, and I worked on. Full competition pause. And boy, howdy do I feel better about my form. Break the bar like you're holding a long piece of spaghetti at arm's length and break it. So like crack, like that. Make sure that you pull the bar into your chest and your chest comes up to it. So you're not just going blamp, you're going like you're doing a lat row, basically. And keep your wrists straight. So my biggest problem is on this arm, when it actually comes down, I start going like that. And that puts me here instead of probably up here where maybe I should be. But I'm working on it. And if I do a bulldog grip, so instead of straight, it's more like that, which is, again, the bar breaking form. Rests more on my palm instead of on the center. And I get a much better sense of my pecs activating. So it's actually stable. Most importantly though, this makes a huge difference, is proper leg drive. I've always been using leg drive to maintain foot position and tightness going across my body. But what I was missing and just occasionally remembered again somehow is that I need to be pushing my shoulder blades as hard as I can backwards. So to the point where if the mat wasn't there, I would be actually pushing myself off of the bench and like smashing the mirror. If I can do that and actually trust that the bench isn't going to throw me off, then I'm properly stable. It's a work in progress, but I managed a very solid, good pause, 248 today, after doing a ton of other work narrowing down my form. So if I can do that after a ton of other work, if I just go into it starting at 2 plate instead of much lower, I feel that I can probably hit that 253 to a 2-second pause and be confident in it for the next competition. So, I have a week to remember my squat form and apply it to a full lift 391. I have a week to remember my bench form and apply it to a 253. I have a week to not really care about my deadlift. It's fine. I just need caffeine, probably. Yes, I need to go back to my form on deadlift, but not before provincials. I need to get those quads working. It'll happen after provincials. So why am I suddenly psychologically better? Because I'm working again. Being in the gym, slamming away, making progress, puts me in a better headspace than if I'm doing nothing useful, just playing Diablo and actually getting some sweet equipment. The greatest gift anyone can give themselves, in my opinion, is to show up and just do it. It might be hard, but once you get under the bar and the endorphins start going and you're making some level of progress, the entire world just changes. You can do it. So can I. So, I'm back on the road to 600. Only 98 pounds to go. No problem. Shalom, my little monsters. Tomorrow will be a better day? Yes, tomorrow was a better day. Rawr. 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 Rawr.